only 4 master numbers in there. Now, if it proves to be like both Pennsylvania and Ohio, which I watched, one of the master numbers tends to play each week. This is a 44 state. Georgia is governed by the mastership number of 44, which is my theory why it constitutes so many doubles. That's just a theory, and I need facts behind it. So that you can break down this, again, conglomeration. The other theory is take your family's vibrations to organize you 6 digits, their birth date. Okay, let me share what I'm talking about. Because what you're doing is 99.9% guessing. One day, by the grace of God, maybe you have a dream, and your spirit will give you something to follow with. All I'm doing is just breaking it down so you can see it. I'm not trying to give you any numbers. Take the birth date, 8th month, 25th day, 1949. Let's say Joey was born. That's an 8 and a 25 and a 7. 1949. 1 and 9 is 10, and 4 is 14, and 6 is 125. Is that right? 23. 23. Okay, thank you. There's a digit, there's a digit, there's a digit. Then take your birth date and do the same thing. The principle is stay close to the numbers that vibrate to your consciousness. Okay, then you have a better intuitive working with those numbers, rather than just like this woman did, went in there and grabbed a card and went scratching off numbers, trying to hurry up and get to the machine. It's not about hurry up and play. It's about winning. You know? And she had until yesterday, until next Saturday. You know, but the compulsion to play is a problem. And I'm again for warning you, this is a compulsive energy that is spreading, and it's going to get bigger and bigger with this 6th digit. The corporate group will get in here now because they're not embarrassed to walk up to the window and try to win 20 million or 2 million because they're not making 2 million, but they're making 500 a week. So why should they try to win 500? You know, that's ego status bullcrap. Plus, they ain't got no knowledge about this. Again, numbers that vibrate in your world are the ones that have more affinity. Out of the example of the black woman in Chicago, let me lend this as advisatorial. Take 6 digits and keep playing them. Yeah. Okay, that's what she did. She did 10 years. So that's you talking about consistency and persistency. You know, the system was on it. 10 years. Bingo. You know, she's sitting down drinking whatever scotch she likes. You know, and peeping out the window. Don't nobody nothing. Don't have to be there tomorrow. You know? Okay. There's some other information I intend to share with you. Calculations by astrologer numerologists who are into horary forecasting. I'll bring that to your attention later on. Okay, let's take a look at today's number. And what this good sister here has shared with me, I feel enriching. Sister Eva Webb, whose name is so Masonic and Moorish. It's remarkable, the symbology of her name. No, I didn't bring it with me. I wanted to show you the number behind 121, which was, is that what, 334 plate behind 121? Yeah. Yes, okay.
No, 527.
275. I should never forget that. I did the workout wrong. I did 257. Yeah. And the 34 was right on top of the middle square. And all you have to do is move the 4 down, which will give you 434. If you get play a double, you play the other part of the double. And I just wanted to do it because I'm not expecting a pair of threes, but that's my problem, not the lotteries. If you, you play 5-5-0, you also should play 5-0-0. Technically and theoretically, there are only 45 doubles. Each one of those doubles has a compartment pair. That is, the other number of that double, you simply double it, and you have the other part of it. They tend to interchange. When such a number as 5-5-0 is due, often a pair of zeros will play. Now that hasn't happened yet in Georgia. A pair of zeros haven't played. The zeros have been very scarce. I played this today. And one of these is the probability of lead number. However, if you look here, you'll see the status line here of the quality of numbers, 5-8s and 5-9s. One of those should also play. So the sister gave out 583 is a good bet. There it is there. Move the 5 down, 538 anyway. That's right. And here is the 4, which has been somewhat elusive and magical. It keeps popping up when nobody's looking for it.
Yeah, that's the one that scared me.
Right, I was looking for the 3 when after the 3-3-4, the darn 4 played that. Okay, so here would be 453. I played that. That's what I'm really counting on. But I played this because it's so conspicuous.
That 5-5-3?
Yeah. And then the 6. Now, what Sister Webb pointed out to me is very, very important. The number that plays at the beginning of the month is called the controlling factor. Write that down. It came 642. I don't have any of those numbers on this stuff here.
Here, I have them right here.
You got them? Okay.
Yeah, I have the whole thing starting right here. And then they'll be on the
Okay,
next column.
thank you. The first number of the month becomes, in fact, what is called the controlling factor. The ones in the middle here?
No.
Okay, I see, yeah.
All the way down to the bottom in the right column, you see just the second from the bottom on the right.
643. 642. Then 932 played. The 2 came back. Then
On the right-hand corner on the right side in the second, yeah.
Then 764 played. The 6 and 4 came back. Then 696 played. The 6 came back. Then 456 played. The 4 and the 6 came back. 321 played. The 2 came back. And 121 played. The 2 came back. 275 played. The 2 came back. 334 played. The 4 came back. You can't ignore that.
And then after that, yesterday,
Yes.
it was 294.
Right, the 4 came back. 2 and the 4 came back. You know, and she had told me about that, and this went completely out my window, you know. And you can't ignore that kind of construction. We'll see, again, if it transpires for next month. But in the meantime, keep that factor in mind. The other one, if you recall, I mentioned, it didn't do it yesterday or something, the 4 tends to become a 0. The 0 of the 8 or the 3 tends to become one of the other. If a 3 plays, it tends to become that didn't happen either. So that's one of those every now and then theories. But this one has been most consistent in watching the numbers. Okay?
Could you tell me what the 4 is a 0, then what are the others?
Those are the only 2 that I'm familiar with.
Oh.
The only 2 that I feel comfortable kind of dealing with.
My mother-in-law was playing the 5 with 0, and she played this one on tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how she did. She helped me to realize with the 3-2-1, that number had everything in that tic-tac-toe had played for the last 5 days. Everything in there.
From the
It went from the right and then from the bottom, and it played in order from the right.
Behind the 3, 2, 1?
Right.
Is that right? Yeah.
From the bottom, and then it went to the middle, and then it went to the top,
Is that
and then it
right?
went to the other side.
Yeah, okay.
It went to the middle, back to the middle.
I've just been using the tic-tac-toe to reinforce my convictions about the centers myself, except every now and then I'll go to the tic-tac-toe, we'll look at it in a minute, to find what's on the top one. That's been the way I've been using it. One day, I went through there and did about 14 numbers, every angle I could think of, you know. And would you know it, a triple play? And it wasn't in there. Okay, what tends to happen here, and happened behind the number that brought 334, is that the lead number was on top here. Yesterday, the 4 was up there, wasn't it?
No, it was a 9. It was,
The 9 was on top?
I think it was 693. I thought that's what it was.
Yes.
See, that's right, 693, yeah. The 9 was on top, right,
I
okay.
like that.
Right, there were 3 numbers up there. Usually there will be 3 numbers there. So the advice is to make your selection first from here. Then go to your indicator. Yesterday, the indicator was 5 4s in the 4 plate. I should have stuck with my thing, but the problem was the 294 wasn't in the whole workout on this part of it. This wasn't there. And as I mentioned, that happens.
I thought that, you know, that it went back to 275, and the whole 294 was in 275. See, you remember?
Yeah, okay. You mentioned that the number of the day tends to come from the previous number, but I don't want them focusing on that.
Okay.
What I've found over the few years specifically is that the number of the day, 70% of the time, can be found in these 3 columns. The problem, or the solution really, is searching with the correct lead number and then utilizing it as you go through the columns beginning here. But now, with what Eva has explained and pointed out that's working, is you want to look at these 3 numbers here for a lead number, then go to your columns, okay? The principle still applies. The 5 tends to manifest. That's the 8 and the 9 have 5 parts in this accumulation of numbers.
Well, how did you get, how did you get that?
This comes from these 3 numbers, 93, 94, 95.
How did you get the 2142? Where did you get
The
that?
2140.
You know, right here in the right hand.
She's talking about the vibration scale.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the accumulation numbers here. There are 2 1s there, 4 2s, and so forth, all the way down from 1 to 0. That's how you accumulate. And what seems to be most accurate is the fact of 5 of a certain amount tends to play. I played 819, which is way overdue. One of the fastest numbers in the lottery is 189 or 819, 981. And it should have played already.
We had 749 twice in that workout.
749, yeah. Now that could play. It's slow too.
It's in that box.
Then the one I should have played is there. That gives a 9. The lead factor is 679. That plays for the dead. Okay, so looking at your top square here, then taking that lead number chosen and work with it starting over here and then come back this way is the best thing. So you move the 3 up, you got 537. You already got 638. That's a fast number. Then move the 5. If your lead number is 5, and you move the 5 down, it gives you 538. Move the 3 up to the 5, then move the 8 up to the 5. This is play 528 twice. If it plays again, I'm going to shoot somebody. Then move your 5 up. 516 is a possibility. Now, the inquiry is one of these digits should play back, the 2, 9, or 4. The probability of it being a 9 is good. But we're going to see if that controlling factor has a hand in here. The controlling factor that did not manifest yesterday was the 6. And here's a 6 right in the configuration with this. 653, 656, and 556, which are the same double, both pairs. That's a fast double. Okay. So we'll take a look, see what happens. Hold your breath and don't let your blood pressure get up. The other important factor is for the melanin-blooded human being, it is difficult to be objective in this. We tend to do subjective selection. Sometimes it's simply playing what's there in terms of position. It's called positional play, no matter how you feel about it. And that's hard to do. You'll find it very difficult to do. I'm like, I-73, I don't care about the note, but it's there. I should have played it. I'm hoping I was really good.